Okay, so what did we learn here? And why did we watch this clip?
Shows you how packets move across the web.
The reason we watched this, she said packets move across the web. Now, the reason we watched this clip is to get to familiarize yourself with networking technologies. Now, some of you may have a background in networking, some of you may not have a background in networking. And if you don't have a background in networking, there are a number of things in networking that you need to know before you can start to be a security professional, before you can start to look at what the problems are. And this is probably the right time to look at this video, because from next chapter onwards, we get into a lot of networking terms. And if you're not familiar with the basics in networking, you're going to have some difficulty understanding them. You saw there were a number of ports up here. What are ports used for? Yes, sir.
To allow traffic in and out of a computer safely, or also to open up whatever traffic you want from the net and to stop other traffic from coming in that you don't want.
You said to allow packets to come in and out of the computer, and to allow them safely, and you can stop the ports that you don't want people to come in. Yes, so you said something?
I was just going to add that they're used by different applications. So you have send and receive.
That's absolutely right. It's the applications that use the ports. So ports are for applications. And there are a whole range of ports. And sometimes if a port is open because you have an application but you're not using it or whatever, it is not good, because ports are vulnerabilities. Ports are like windows and doors in a house. So you have a house, and suppose it's a big mansion, and you have some 1,000 windows and 50 or 70 doors. Assume you have staying in a nice big palace. Okay. Now, unless you secure all the windows and all the doors properly, there are vulnerabilities, right? A thief could come in through any one of the windows or any one of the doors. Similarly, ports are an entry point for the hackers, right? How would they come into your system? The only way they can come into your system is through ports. And ports are for application. So they can figure out which applications are there or which applications have vulnerabilities, and then try to come in through those. So those are important concepts that you need to know. Then they talked about firewall and another device. What was that? Protection devices, firewall and
Switches.
switches also they talked about, but switches basically for switching the packets. Pardon, they talked about routers. They talked about another technology besides firewalls. Yes, Mr. Boardman?
They talk about proxy.
Yes, they talked about a proxy server. What's the difference between a proxy server and a firewall?
Proxy examines everything in that packet. Firewall just checks the port.
He said proxy examines everything, firewall just checks something. Okay.
Isn't proxy like you going out, while firewalls and stuff that is trying to go in? No, firewall.
Okay. He said proxy goes out, firewall comes in. That doesn't seem to be the right thing. Is anybody else able to give us any other inputs? Okay, let me explain you. I'll go to the board. So let's look at it on the board, okay? See, you hopefully know the layers. Do you know the OSI layers? Which is something that you should familiarize yourself. It will be in one of the chapters, but there are 7 layers. One of them is application, presentation, session, transport, internet, what?
Data link and physical.
Oh, that's network DP. But basically, this is not used so much. What is used is the TCP IP model. This is the OSI model. So there are 2 different models. That is a theoretical model, the OSI. This is a practical model. Now we're going to do this in a later chapter, but I just want to give you a little feel for it so that you know what we are talking about. At this place, you're talking of network access, which is called roughly the data link layer, where we work with switches. So you work with switches here, you work with routers here, and you work with ports here. Okay? So just to give you an idea of what you work with at each layer. Now, when you have a proxy, what it does is, if you are sending something to the proxy, this is the proxy, and this is the internet, the proxy will stop your packet. It will look at it at all the layers. So it'll go right up to the application layer and check your packet to make sure it meets all the criteria, right? That you are the person you're sending to XYZ site. That application that you're using, is it allowed? Are you allowed to send things out with that application? All those things it will check for you. And then it will make a new connection here with its own address, with the address of the proxy. It will take that and send it to maybe Yahoo or wherever you want to send the packet to, okay? Now it goes to Yahoo and then Yahoo responds back. Now who does Yahoo know? Does Yahoo know the user here?
No.
Sorry. Here.
Nope.
So I'm here. Does Yahoo know me? Somebody said no. Yes, Yahoo doesn't know me. All that Yahoo knows is this address. And whose address is this?
Proxy.
The proxy's address. So as far as the Yahoo is concerned, it only got a packet from the proxy and it's sending it back. It doesn't know that there's anything behind the proxy. So the greatest thing about a proxy also is that it can shield the network. If this is the whole network, it's actually protecting it from the rest of the world. Nobody knows anything about the network. All that they see is the proxy. Now that's good and bad. The good thing is, it's a very safe. In fact, proxy is a great firewall. It actually works as a firewall. But the biggest disadvantage with proxies are that they are very slow because of all the work they do, right? So they look at all the application layer up to the application layer. They stop that connection. They make a new connection. They send that. And when they get back the response, they actually check it again, all the 7 layers. Then they make another connection and send that to the user. So there's a lot of work that the proxy does and it's very, very slow. So proxies are nowadays used as cache. So for example, you go to Google. Google's addresses are stored in a little memory called cache, or they're stored on a server called the proxy server. So the next time around you want to go to Google, you don't have to go and do any work. The proxy server is going to give you Google's address. So you say, I want to go to Google, proxy server says, here's the address. Why don't you go to that address? And then the connection is made. You understand? So proxies are just used like a middleman to help, but they're not so much for security. They're just to speed up the process, okay? So that's what proxies are normally used for today, because they don't do too much of work. If they do all the work, then it gets a little slow. Firewalls are the ones that do the work. And firewalls work in a very interesting manner, which we'll talk about when we come to firewalls. The thing about security is when you start to talk about one thing, it leads to another and to another. And at the end, I could be teaching you the whole security right there. But that's not right. You should go in modules. Again, I did introduce you to OSI layer and the whole, but that again will be covered in a separate module. Please, if you can do me a favor, read up chapter 2 before next class. Chapter 2 is a huge chapter. It could be a book in itself. It's that big. It has a lot of concepts, and I don't know, the author knows best why they put everything in one chapter, but there's a lot of material in that chapter. So please read the chapter properly. You may have questions, you may have doubts, you may not be clear on certain things, but make a note for yourself, and then we will go through all the concepts. And then after that, if you have questions or you're not clear about something, please stop me and ask me and I'll clarify it for you, okay? But the chapter is very big, and that's why I wanted to introduce you. The next thing that we are going to do is that we are going to look at some of the labs that are there in this, which we couldn't do because we didn't have admin privileges. Some of these labs you will be able to do, some you will not be able to do. Some of them I will have to show you because I have that. But before we go and do labs, let us go and look at Lab Sim. Now, how many of you have not bought a Lab Sim or installed it? I don't see that everybody has done it. Let me warn you one thing. Anybody who has not installed or got Lab Sim is not going to pass this class, unfortunately. Because all your labs after chapter 11, starting from chapter 2, are only with the Lab Sim. So if you do a little bit of mathematics, you figure out that if you don't do all the labs and you get a 0, the chances of you passing are very little. Okay? And again, you will not learn the objectives of the course. So there's no real point in coming to this course if you don't really want to buy a lab sim. So if there is any issue, and you don't want or you cannot or will not buy a lab sim, please do not continue with the course because it's not going to help you. Okay? Because that's a very critical part of this whole thing. It is everything to do with the labs. And the greatest advantage is it's like a router, it's like a switch, it's like a firewall, it's like a server, it's like everything put together. Okay? Now, for us to put all these devices for you to use is going to be anyway a difficult job. Plus, it could be on campus, not online, right? So, if you want to do it from home, you can do it. So, that's the importance of LabSim. And it has other things as well. We'll go and look through it. It has videos, which are very important for learning as well, because it's something I can explain in class. But there are additional things that they will show you. And those are very good to get the concepts clear. And then there are small, what they call fact sheets, like one-page paper on that topic. And it's like a condensed form. It has a lot of information, so you can like print it and keep it with you. And that becomes like a easy way to memorize those things for exam point of view or whatever. Because one of the things that you should do with this class is try to take the certification exam after this. And I can show you, I have in my room, there are about 6 students who took this exam just last month and a half. Last month or 2 months, all my networking students went and took this exam. Or the ones who had taken Security Plus class for me earlier, they went and took this exam. So it's a very doable thing. It's a good certification to have. It's very important. If you actually work at Naval Postgraduate or DMDC or any one of the local places here, or any government or military organization, they all require you to have Security Plus certification. So at a lower level, and at a higher level, they require you to have, CISSP and things like that. So that's one of the things that you must plan to get. Let's go and go to LabSim, and the way you can do it is you can just type LabSim test out and on Google, and you'll get this LabSim, and you click on it, and here is where you come into the login. Now, all of you should have a username password to log in, because it's the good thing about LabSim they have done now is they made it browser based. This is the first semester it's become browser based. Earlier you had to buy a CD, install it on your computer, or if you wanted to use on another computer like your work computer, then you'd have to go and install it there. And sometimes during installation, you need permissions, you need all that stuff, and it's a problem. Whereas now it's all browser based. So you go to the browser, type in your name, type in your password, and when you log in, it will give you access to the courses that you have access to. Now, if you bought more than one, you'll have access to those. If you just bought one, you'll have access to that. Now, as an instructor, obviously, I have access to a number of courses. So, where is it gone? Yeah, I have access to the SIS 301, which is one of the ones that I will show you. Okay, so this is what is our LabSim. Okay, now depending upon which chapter we're doing, in the chapter handout that is there, I have given you the different module numbers of the LabSim that you should go and watch. And suppose I've told you that you go and watch 0.1. Well, the 0.1 is security overview. So I click on that. And within that, you'll see a number of things. You'll see a couple of videos. Wherever you see the person's image, that means that it's a video. Whenever you see this paper, that means it's that fact sheet. And then there will be labs, which will be with the mouse. There are no labs in this. But if you have a lab, it will be mouse. And then you have an exam question in the end. That will be exam quizzes, like here. Okay, so all these are things that you will see. And just for introduction, we can go and see one video because... so let's look at security challenges.
Containing the information we want to protect. This includes all the hardware and software needed to secure data. It includes such things as firewalls, antivirus software, anti-spam appliances, whatever it is you need to use. The next are the users and the admins who are going to use the software to do the day-to-day tasks. That's the users. And the admins who are actually going to manage the software and hardware that provide network security. And this is actually probably, in my opinion, one of the key places we need to focus. We tend to get locked on physical security. It's like, I got to put up this certain firewall, and I got to run this antivirus software, and so on and so forth. And that's good. You need to do that. But also focus on the users and the administrators, because all the physical security in the world really doesn't help much if you have a malicious user on the inside, or worse, if you have a rogue admin who has a lot more access than a user who is malicious and stealing information or conducting attacks or whatever from the inside. And then finally, policies. You need to establish rules for your organization in order to protect your critical information. So as you can see, as a security administrator, you have a big job. You've got a lot to do, and you have a lot of responsibility.
Okay. I just want to make sure it's recording. Okay, so you saw that this was one of the videos. There are many videos. I think there are about 60, 70 videos during this whole thing. So you need to go and look at them. They're very useful. They help you to get a good concept, good idea. So, I mean, this CD is, or this software is worth its weight in gold. It's a fantastic software. 90% of the students who've taken my class, their comments are that they could do without everything but not this CD, this software. So please make sure that you use it. I'll just take you and show you what are the data sheets like they have. Now this is a data sheet. It's talking about what he talked about, the sophistication of attacks and the scale and velocity. And he talks about CIA, and you know, all that stuff is put together in what is risk management, remember? And I would have referred you in the chapter 1 to go and look at this. So those are type of things that you should look at. And yeah, now unfortunately there's only this much about risk management here, which is chapter 1. Now this is spread across multiple places on the lab sim, because they didn't design it to design it for the book. So there are always a mapping, and I have given you this mapping that you should be able to see where to go to. Then finally you have this exam questions that you can take just to get your knowledge, but you're not tested on this. These lab sim exam questions are not tested. You will be tested from the book, but the book is actually more comprehensive than the lab sim in terms of material, because the lab sim has only this one-page sheets. So even if they have 20 sheets, that's 20 pages of information. That's not enough as whatever 400, 500 pages of your book. So there's a lot more information in the book that there is not there in lab sim. There are videos which are interesting, but they don't have enough information in terms of materials. So that's one of the things. But lab sim is largely designed to be a simulation tool where you can actually go and do things. In fact, let me show you one of them where you can actually go and look at a lab sim. So let's look at network security. Let's look at, I don't know which one has a video. Okay, this one has exploring VLANs, which is a simulation you got to do. But before that, there's a video called configuring VLANs. So you see up on the board. So this is a video. If you click on it, it'll show you a video. He will actually show you.
Let's take a look at configuring virtual LANs on a switch. I've connected to a switch using a telnet utility. The first thing I need to do on the switch.
I'm going to pause it because we're not going to watch the video, but see, he's in the switch, like a switch, and that's a switch. And he will actually do the lab for you. He will actually show you every step and he'll do it. And you can pause it, rewind it, pause it, rewind it. See it as many number of times. Nobody stops you, right? It's with you. There's no charge to view it 10 times or 100 times. And after that is the lab that you got to do. Again, the lab, when you click on it, it will actually bring you a blank screen like this. And it will tell you what to do. So all these notes are there. If you want, you can even print this out. And after you say start, it will actually bring you back to the switch. Okay. Now on the right side is what you're supposed to do, and now the switches are there, and if you go and click on the switch, you are in the switch, just like he was showing you. Remember, he was showing you that do this, and he just started. I stopped it for you, but basically if you watch the video, he'll show you exactly how to do it. Those steps you have to do here. What you have to do is told on the right. Okay, so you have to follow what he did and do the lab for yourself. And when you do it, at the end of it, it will say done. It will show you, now we've done nothing, right? So it showed me that I didn't do anything. All these were wrong. Okay, and it shows you an explanation how to do it right. Okay, because I didn't do anything, so it told me you've done everything wrong, which is true. I didn't do anything. And if you had done something, it would have shown you those as green, that you've done them right, and what you did wrong, it will show you as red, wrong. And then it tells you exactly how to do it, step by step. Then you follow those steps and do it again. Now you could do it as many number of times by the due date. Suppose it's due by Monday or Sunday night, whatever. By Sunday night, you can do it as many number of times as you want. I don't care. But on Sunday night, when you submit it, or on Sunday night, you don't even have to submit it. The great thing about LabSim is you don't have to do any submission. You just have to do it and leave it, and I'll be able to see your grades. Okay? So as long as you're connected to the internet, when you did it or after you did it, it will send me your scores. Yes, I'll be able to see what you did. So at that time, whatever is your final score, suppose you did and you only completed 60%, not 100%. Well, guess what? I can see that you did only 60%. So now I will give you 60% of the grade for the lab because you didn't complete it 100%. But suppose you did it once and you got a 0. You did it second time, you got a 0. You did it third time, you got a 10. You did it fourth time, you got a 20. And you kept doing it till the end, you got a 100. I will see the 100 in there. I'll see your last score. So if you got a 100 in the end, I'll see 100 and I'll give you 100. Are you seeing that? So you can try it as many number of times. There's no penalty to that. So that's one of the things. And it has a whole lot of stuff in it. So please, it has labs and there's a video before every lab. And then you have to do the lab yourself. There are sheets of fact sheets of which are very nice, concise sheets to help you prepare and remember. Then there are a number of good videos. And also there are quizzes that can help you to gain your concepts better, but although those are not tested. So any questions on the LabSim? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got it. It says your account is not linked to a more company.
Yes. Okay.
They're not visible to other users.
Great. So let me show you where to go. And the way you go is you can go to testout.com. So let's go to that site. What's happening to this? Let's go to testout. What's happening to my Internet Explorer? So let me close this out. Here's this page. Okay, here we are at testout.com, and I don't want to go to the certification. Here they have the videos which I have actually mentioned in my iLearn. I have shown you that there are a number of videos that you can go under educator resources, and there is student resources under that and student tools. So you go under educator resources, student tools, and there are a number of videos for you. And one of them is getting started user accounts activated by teachers and getting started user accounts not activated by teachers. Now I don't activate any accounts for you. So you got to choose this one. Okay, and there's a viewing guide that you can see how to do it. It's a okay. Okay, there are also a number of videos that you could watch, and I'm trying to see where the videos are. Here are the videos. There are a number of videos that you can watch, and one of them will show you how to log into the LabSim. Okay, it's probably under instructor tools. The one, that document that didn't open up, and I don't know what the problem is on that, but that document actually is the one that shows you how to log on to a college site. But otherwise, I have another video that I can send you separately. Basically, there's a video on how to log on to the college site. So when you log in, you should say join a class or site, and then you have to put our name.
Okay, joining, okay.
And in that, you have to put the whole college name, Monterey Peninsula College. And then you'll be able to join that. And then under that, you'll see classes, and you'll see this semester's class. CSIS 198 Spring 2012. And then you have to join that class. Okay, so they have these videos. I will put the links up there, but I can't see where they were right now. But this guide is what you should look at. This guide is the one that tells you how to activate it. Okay, here I think is a quick start guide. Why don't we watch this right now for a minute? Okay. They moved it around a little bit. For all of you who have not
LabSim, you need to create a LabSim account. Launch LabSim by clicking on the LabSim icon on your desktop or selecting it from your Windows program menu. When the login screen appears,